It's the Sean Widmer Podcast. It's a journal by someone that just really doesn't like to write.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. A pizza survey came out. And that is just calling my name to dive into it. So we're going to take a look at this pizza survey. We're going to judge it. We're going to celebrate it. We're going to see if cities that might be listening, cities that I've lived in, if they're represented. We're going to dive into this thing. I'm excited about that. Also today, Kelly's What Are You Into? Winning idea. I do believe it could be a winning idea. I don't know if it's great or not, but we're going to get into it. And I do have a celebratory moment we're going to talk about as well. But it's like not celebratory. Don't get excited. Don't get excited. I'm excited, but that's like the only person who should be excited about it. I needed to bring this up. If my kids are listening, stop it. Stop it. So, my wife's been traveling a lot lately. So been doing the solo parent thing around the house. And we're going to talk pizza in a second and fast food in a second. We are the healthiest household in America here. And I promote health. And sometimes I actually do. And we do a lot of apples in this house. We do a lot of apples. So my kids love getting an apple. We buy the little apples. I don't know what they're called. They're the ones on the stick. They're the green ones on the stick with the caramel around them. Flat. No, we buy real apples. And my kids love just walking around the house chomping down on these apples. So I'll throw them an apple here and there. Especially they're great when I'm getting dinner ready and I need them not in the kitchen by the oven or the stove trying to burn themselves to death or by the knives. And so I'll throw them both an apple and they'll entertain themselves running around, put some music on. We'll do a big dance party with their apples. And so they love these things. Well, the problem I've now had is I realize I give these kids the apple and then I'm busy making dinner for half hour, maybe, about half hour. And they're doing their thing. And then when I'm ready for dinner, I'm getting them to the table and we're on dinner mode. And I don't always remember that they had apples. And so in the last 2 days, and I don't think my wife has found one yet. She got back this weekend. But I found like an apple that looked like a raisin laying in a toy, inside of a toy dump truck with a top on it. There was an apple in there. I'm sure that's probably pretty good. There was an apple in one of my son's drawers. That was probably pretty good. And so I don't know where the rest of these things are, because I can't account for them all. But I know they've had a lot of apples, and I don't know that they've had a lot of time throwing them in the trash. Probably because I haven't promoted that. And my son does love using the trash, but you kind of have to say, Huck, man, trash time, baby. And then he'll sprint into the kitchen. And he loves pulling out the garbage can and dunking into there, and then closing it, and he feels like a champ. But if you don't promote it, he's going to the dump truck, he's going to the clothing drawer, and who knows where else. I did, because I was panicked. My kids love jumping on my bed, and I did today panic and did my wife went to the grocery store, and I did a dive where I went into the covers of the bed and looked everywhere, because I thought that would be it. If there's an apple, if one of these rotten apples has made its way into the bed, we're all done. Huck, we're going to have to wake Huck up, because she probably would find it at night. We have to wake Huck up. Dad's going to be upstairs. There's going to be a team meeting, family meeting. We're going to be banned from apples, and I might be grounded for life. So there wasn't one in there, but who knows where else these things are going to pop up. So thank you. Shout out to my kids. If you're listening, stop it. Stop it. Can we talk about pizza? I want to talk about pizza. I love pizza. It is my second favorite food behind tacos is pizza. In fact, I mentioned we were going to talk fast food. I was talking to my guy Kev before recording the podcast, and we were talking about he posed a fun question. My phone ends up with all the fast food talk during the week. Earlier this week, Ryan, Kenny, and I are breaking down the Panda Express menu, and we're judging people who get rice there as opposed to the chow mein, and not a half and half, not a 50-50. You're crazy if you're touching the rice. It's great. The rice is great. you got the chow mein right next to it. They offered you both. What are you doing? So we were discussing like the best combo at Panda Express, the big heavy hitters this week on my Marco Polo. If you're not on Marco Polo, get it. Add me. Let's talk on Marco. I love Marco Polo. It's like my favorite thing on my phone. But Kev messaged me today, and he was like, hey, dude, what 5 fast food restaurants do you think you've stepped foot in the most? Fun question. Because this is not your favorite 5 fast food spots, which, there's a lot of, I feel like I've had a lot of conversations. What's your favorite fast food spot right now? And I love that. And I told Kev, the reason I bring up the fast food, I told him the second Mod Pizza throws in a drive-through, and we've considered if you have a drive-through, you're a fast food restaurant. The second they add a drive-through, I want Mod Pizza. I want Mod Pizza to skyrocket on all my lists. I want most attended, best. I want it just to climb the charts. But he asked, what 5 fast food restaurants do you think you've been to the most in your life? And so I think I felt pretty good about this. I think my answer would be Panda Express number 5, because late adopting into that. It wasn't there since day one for me. Number 4 would be Carl's Jr. That's an Eastern Washington University thing. There was a Carl's Jr. right off campus as you enter Cheney. And they had really cheap eats when I was going to college at Eastern. I fell in love with it. And then there was one right by one of the places I worked and by my house. And I frequently hit up their dollar menu after work or after school. So Carl's Jr. and I had a really solid relationship, especially during the early 2000s. Jack in the Box would be my number 3. I love Jack in the Box. I have gone there a lot. I've gone there a lot late at night. I've gone there plenty late at night, and I'm proud of it. The 99-cent tacos were, if you have a good value menu item, I've been to your restaurant, your fast food restaurant, a lot. So the 99-cent tacos kept me going to Jack in the Box a lot. And again, this list is about how many times you've been to the restaurant. You've got a 99-cent taco. I'm there a lot more. And it may not be my favorite menu item, but again, you understand how this works. I'm there a lot. Number 2 is Taco Bell. I'm in Taco Bell a ton. I'm a diehard Taco Bell fan. And my love for Taco Bell has been talked about on the podcast plenty. And number 1 is McDonald's. I think everyone's number 1 is probably McDonald's. We've all been to McDonald's the most. And you may be listening going, well, I hate fast food. Well, this isn't about do you hate fast food. You can play this game. This is a beautiful part about this. Everyone can play this game. You fast food haters, you health nuts, you Greek gods and goddesses, you sexy beasts. Even you have been to 5 fast food restaurants, and you've probably been to each one of those 5 different amount of times. So even you can create this list. The 5 fast food restaurants you've set foot in the most. What are they? Those are mine. Let's talk pizza. All of this leading to pizza. There was a big survey that was released, the best pizza cities in America, 2024 data by Matt Brannon. And this survey was a nationwide survey, and it got deep dives, rated pizza per restaurants. It had a pizza restaurants per 100,000 people involved in this, Yelp ratings, price of a large cheese pizza, price of a large pepperoni pizza, median annual income required to purchase. Okay, the share of median annual income required to purchase one cheese pizza each week for a year. So, I mean, this is a deep dive. They also did it for the pepperoni pizza. So the value for where your city lands in terms of money made, how much the pizza costs compared to that. Like, this is a deep pizza survey. So let's get to your top 10 cities for pizza, because I want to celebrate them. And one of the big factors they include in this is the love that city has for pizza, which I thought was good. But here's your top 10. Number 10 was Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I've never had pizza in Pittsburgh. I've been to Pittsburgh to see Gonzaga play in the NCAA tournament. We did not get pizza there. We got almost in a bunch of fights there. That was the best. That was the closest we got. Detroit, Michigan, number 9. They have an average large pizza price of $16.36. Pretty solid. They did okay. Their rating on Yelp, not good. Their average pizza rating on Yelp, not good. I think they're the lowest of the top 10 in terms of rating, but they've got great prices on their pizza, and their pizza passion score is the highest. It's a 100, because there's not a lot to love apparently in Detroit, Michigan, and so pizza's the thing you love. It's the number one city where they love that stuff. They love that pie. Washington, D.C., number 8. Number 7, Hartford, Connecticut. Number 6, San Francisco, California. And it's the second highest priced pizza, which will be beaten here in a second. But they've got good reviews in their pizza. Their reviews in San Francisco on the pizza, very solid. San Diego, California, number 5, $22.70, the average price of a large pizza in San Diego. It's the most expensive of the top 10s. Darnay, what you doing there? Also, visiting Darnay in San Diego, why anyone's buying pizza and not just going to that one birria taco truck by Darnay's house. That's where everyone should eat all the time. You shouldn't eat any other food in San Diego. They shouldn't have pizza. They just need that one taco truck, and it should feed the entire city. Number 4, speaking of Darnay, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I almost said Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They've got it set up right. So they have apparently they have the greatest history of pizza in the United States, which blew my mind. I figured it would be New York, but according to this, it says Philadelphia has historically great pizza places, and it's ridiculously well priced. So it skyrockets because of the passion for pizza, the history of pizza, really high ratings for pizza places, and the price of the pizza there, large pizza, is really good. Number 3, Boston, Massachusetts, which is a place I would have assumed had the history, but they lost that history mark to Philly. Boston, extremely well priced for their pizza for how big the city is. That's like the big celebratory thing for Boston. Under $20 for a pizza. They love pizza there, apparently. The Yelp score is not great, but they can feed a bunch of people. Number 2, Buffalo, New York. Buffalo, New York, another one like Detroit. It's cold all the time. So a nice warm pizza pie is going to be good. Number 1, Denver, Colorado. Why does Denver win everything? When I open a survey, if it's whatever, and it's positive, U.S. cities, a positive review of item X in the United States, Denver, Colorado is always at the top. Always. Their pies are cheap. $16.79, the average price of a large cheese pizza there. The pizza passion score was really high, over an 80. Their average Yelp reviews was extremely high, second to San Diego in the top 10. And they have a ton of pizza places. That was one thing I forgot to mention with Buffalo. Buffalo has the most pizza restaurants per 100,000 people in the United States for a major city. And so and then like by a ton. Almost by double. Denver, for instance, had 9.5 pizza restaurants per 100,000. Buffalo, 18 per 100,000. They just pizza places everywhere. I was looking to see if Spokane, Washington, my old stomping grounds, made the list. It did not. And my new stomping grounds, Lexington, Kentucky, did not. But Louisville, the 42nd best pizza city in the United States. I love a good survey. So if you live in one of those cities, kudos, congratulations. You don't want to live in one of these. The 10 worst pizza cities. Number 10, Kansas City, Missouri. Number 9, Louisville, Kentucky. Number 8, Houston, Texas. Number 7, Raleigh, North Carolina. Number 6, Salt Lake City. Number 5, Charlotte, North Carolina. Number 4, Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm surrounded by these. There's no good pizza here. Louisville and Cincinnati. What in the heck? Number 3, Oklahoma City. They stole the Sonics. I wish them nothing but terrible. San Antonio, Texas, number 2, and the worst pizza city, and a place where I got mugged one time and pulled down an alley and had my wallet taken from me, was Memphis, Tennessee. So there you go. Let's see this. About 43% of Americans say pizza is their favorite of burgers, tacos, and barbecue. So when those are like the 4 big ones that people answer are their favorite foods, and pizza is by far the runaway of those 4, which is cool. More people enjoy a New York style than a Chicago style in the United States. We are a nation where 68% of the people would rather have a pepperoni than a cheese pizza. God bless you, people, for that. I do not hate a cheese pizza. I would just never be caught dead ordering one. Ever. The only time I'm ordering a cheese pizza is because my kids aren't smart enough to understand toppings yet. Let's read it exactly. Despite what your weird friend says, Americans as a whole do not prefer pineapple on their pizza. 55% of people say they do not like pizza or pineapple on their pizza. 8% are undecided. Make up your mind. And 37% say they're in. I'm under 37%. I think it's magical. My wife is a sweetheart and got me she's going to be gone this week, a couple days. And so she got me my favorite pizza right now. Talked about this. Red Baron, classic crust, pepperoni. I'll probably have to sneak off to the store, buy myself a jalapeno and some of the pineapple, sliced pineapple, and I'll sprinkle those on top of there, and we're gonna get it done this week. Gonna crush a pizza, and I'm gonna put the pizza in the oven, and I'm gonna say this is gonna be great. I'm gonna get pizza tonight for dinner. I'm gonna have pizza leftovers for lunch, and then the next day for lunch, I will be eating a sandwich because there will be no leftover pizza, and that's the way it goes. There you go. There's your pizza talks. Okay, before Kelly's, what are you into? Two quick things. I need some help with something. Youthful people, if there's some of the youths listening, I'm trying to think. Maybe the Curtys who are out there, the Brandons, if you still listen. I don't know who listens to the podcast. I'm assuming there's some people under the age of, let's put it at 35 and under. I got called out for something on social media today, and I don't think the guy meant it poorly, but I am a big liker of posts, and this was on Instagram. If you post a story, there's a really good chance I'm going to hit the hands clap button or the fire. If like someone's got great basketball shoes, I'll hit the fire button on it, whatever. I'll hit one of the things and react to the post. And I do this a lot. And I was told today, my buddy said, you like every single one of my stories. And the way it was worded was negative. And I'm like, yeah, of course I like you. Like, of course I like your stuff. It's you. I like you. And they're like, well, you like all of them. And then I realized, is that not what's supposed to happen? Are you not supposed to do that? I do that on a lot of social medias. Brandon can probably tell you this. If he tweets, I like it. I don't even know what some of them say. But I'm like, oh, Brandon tweeted. I like that. I like Brandon. And I'm maybe realizing that's not kosher. I'm 42. I'm older, right? This is old man radio, Michael. This is old man radio. So do I need to wean off that? Is this a selective thing? Should I be only hitting those reaction emojis on an Instagram story if it's really super solid content? Help me, young people. Also, I beat Final Fantasy X. Finally. I just needed to grind a little bit and level up my characters. And I had been having the hardest time with the final boss in that game for like 2 years. That game came out in 2001. I started playing it in 2001. Many consoles later, I finally decided to beat it. Started this process in COVID maybe? That was forever ago. And finally, I got to the point where I was like, I just need to beat it. I was having a hard time with the last boss. And I just went and grinded out my characters and just raised their levels up. So I went back into the final boss on Friday, and I was like, okay, I'm going to grind. I've got some good techniques, some good ideas, strategy to take out this final boss. And I went in, and my guys were finally so overpowered. I just started hitting with my normal attacks, and it was like, you're killing this. So there you go, Final Fantasy X in the books. I'm moving on to, I think, Final Fantasy IX will be my next to that series to get into. Oh no, the sound didn't work. Hang on. Oh no, let me see if it works this time. Hang on.
Kelly's, what are you into?
I had my setup all wrong. All right, we're back. We're cooking now. Kelly's, what are you into? The NBA All-Star Weekend was this weekend. And Friday they had the celebrity game and they had the Rising Stars game. I missed the Rising Stars game, caught a little bit of the celebrity game, and it was awesome. And then last night was, I'm recording this on Sunday night. Last night was the skills competition stuff. And then tonight, All-Star game. So the weekend was cool, but I'm in love with something. And I don't know how we can incorporate this in everything, but I want it in everything. If you didn't see any of the All-Star stuff, go and search. I think Ian sent me this on TikTok. You can search Stephen A. Smith celebrity. Stephen A. Smith celebrity game. And you can also just look at any of the highlights from the three-point contest, Sabrina versus Steph three-point shootout, the dunk contest, skills challenge. Look up any of this stuff. They played all these events on an LED floor. So a regular-sized basketball court, but it was an LED screen underneath it. and it is insane. And it is one of the coolest things I've seen technology-wise and advancements in the sports world, and I was in love with it. I couldn't get enough of it. Last night it was so cool. During the dunk contest, a player would walk around the court, and underneath them there would be either fire or some kind of like square graphics blowing up behind their feet as they walked on the court. They'd put the highlights of the person on the floor right before they dunked. They could put the scores up there. I mean, they could do everything. 3-point contest, the guys hitting the starry money ball and the court's exploding underneath their feet. It was insane. The Stephen A. Smith clip, he is coaching one of the celebrity teams, and there was a button the coach could push, and when they pushed it, all of the scores, all the points your team scored for the next 2 minutes were doubled. So you hit a 2, it's worth 4, and the 3-pointers are now worth 6, and I think they had a deeper 3-point line that would double to 8. But not only did that, it wasn't just like, oh, you push the button and now that's activated. It lit the whole court. It changed the entire color of the court, and the zones now looked different for your scoring. It was, I'm telling you, I thought it was one of the coolest things. Again, tech-wise, I'm in love with it. I was so ticked off they did not play the NBA All-Star game on that floor. And I'm sure there's something there, safety concerns. Maybe it's not as grippy as it needs to be. But whatever it's going to take for them to incorporate this, maybe a move to Vegas, a team in Vegas will get it. Whatever it's going to take to get this court active in basketball, I cannot wait. It's in terms of marketing, like if we're talking just dollar signs, in terms of marketing, having a court where you can advertise on the court, you know, when teams call a timeout, you could run a commercial, right? I mean, we don't want to see that probably as a fan, but you could do it. It makes for, though, really cool stuff you could do during timeouts, because you could put stats on there, you could put highlights on there. Obviously, sponsors could come down and you could do shooting contests from different areas, and it would just look so sick. So I think it would look really cool. And during the dunk contest, Jaylen Brown did a dunk that he did it terribly, where he was going to recreate from the 90s D Brown, where D Brown famously pumped up the Reebok pumps and drove down the lane, covers his eyes with his elbow, and puts his eyes into his elbow and dunked. And he was going to recreate that, but he was going to add a twist to it of, 1, jumping over a guy who was streaming on Twitch, and 2, having Jason Tatum throw the ball up. So he was going to jump with his hand in his elbow, catch the ball, slam it. It didn't do that at all. But after maybe it wasn't even that dunk. I might be on the wrong dunk. I was just laughing so much at that dunk. Anyways, after one of his dunks, he dunked it, and the court changed completely to look exactly like the Boston Gardens court. And it looked just like it. So it's not like you have to play in these courts that are all weird colors. They made the court look just like the hardwood court. Obviously, it's not hardwood, and it doesn't look exactly like hardwood, but it looks like a basketball court. And the whole court just blew up and looked like Boston Garden. It was so sick. So I'm in for it. But not only that, I'm in for LED screens on the ground all over the place. I want these things everywhere. I want them at stores. I want them in malls. I want them at shopping places. I want them everywhere, because I want lanes where, okay, you know, Black Friday, this would be ideal for Black Friday, because you can like create the flow of traffic that you want with arrows on the ground. But I want there to be little things on the ground that says like "Screamin' Deal" down this way, and you kind of follow a path, like Walmart. You've got all the money in the world. Make a Walmart that has one of these, and let's see what happens. I mean, someone's going to ruin it at some point, but I want LED screens on the ground everywhere. I just think that's the thing. You know, put it in a bank and let me know how long I'm going to be waiting. Put a clock under my feet when I sit down. There's a clock under my feet with like the average wait time that I'm going to be sitting there waiting, because I go to the bank all the time, right? I want this, man. I want LED floors everywhere. Go check it out if you didn't see the All-Star Weekend. It's pretty sick. And I'm dying to know why they didn't do the LED floor for the actual game. It has to be maybe too slippery or something, but we're getting there. Technology's getting there. I love an advancement in technology in sports. And you couldn't do it in football, couldn't do it in baseball. It's got to be indoor, so basketball is going to have to be the one to embrace this. Let's get to the comments, shall we? 3 of them on the Spotify. You can comment one of 3 ways. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. You can comment on the YouTube video. Another way is if you listen on Spotify, go to today's episode, the one you're listening to now. There's a question and answer section, and you can either ask a question, comment on whatever it is you wanted to from the previous podcast, give a shout out to someone, promote yourself. I don't care what it is. We read the comments. The third way, easiest way, probably, go to my website, seanslife.com. There's a big comment box there, and you can write your comment in there. Let's get to the Spotify comments first. Yvonne says, Pac-Man was her game. I asked the question, what was the best game that came out when you were 12? But she says Pac-Man was before I was 12, but it's her favorite at the time when she was 12. Also, Burger Time. She said, thanks for the colors. Yep, for the blanket. Need to try the empanadas. Sound good. Played with kids at the park, board games, etc. Kids born 1991 and 1996. Okay, she mentioned play with the kids at the park. This was the uproar of the weekend. For me, it was hilarious. I enjoyed this quite a bit. But I mentioned the fact, when I take my kid to Target to touch toys, I need to have something. I need to have my AirPods in to listen to podcasts. People were either completely loving that or so mad at me and calling me the worst parent. Get out of here. Are you kidding me? You gonna come in here and call me the worst parent, the guy who lets their kids leave apples all over the house to rot? What are you talking about? Get out of here. Come on. And there's a lot of confusion as well. A lot of people with we would buy the toy and take it home. Okay, my son doesn't want the toys. I try to make this clear. This is not a non-listening issue. My son doesn't want the toys. He wants to go to the store like it is a water park, and he wants to play with them there. The second those toys survive inside of my house, they're the worst toys in the world to him. They're only fun at Target or at Walmart. That's it. They're not fun anywhere else for him. He wants that experience. So, bad parent, I'm just trying to give my kids, great memories, taking places they want to go, get them out of the house. Everyone doesn't want kids in the house. So I like to take my kids out of the house so they can go play video games somewhere else, but at least they're out of the house. Sharon says Donkey Kong for Nintendo was when she was 12. Sure, that's a great game. That's a great game. Is that Donkey Kong Country? Are we the same age? Kirsten Curdy, hi. Curdy says, I just started listening to today's pod and just finished the last one. And I'm sorry, I love GA, but that's Delulu. Great kids thing for delusional. I don't even click podcasts under 15 minutes usually. It's a waste. I prefer 1 to 3 hour pods. Well, Kirsten, you're going to get over 30 today, I think. Good to hear from you. Everyone go follow Curdy Bear on Twitch. She's kind of back a little bit. Kind of back on Twitch playing Valorant, a game that I really want to get into. I'm too afraid to ask her to teach me it. So that's, I guess, kind of me asking you, Kirsten. I would love to learn to play it sometime. It looks very fun. 2 comments off of the website. The first one is from Ian. Your podcast is fine. And that was it. No, he said your podcast is fine the way it is lengthwise. Those who want to listen will, those who want to listen will, those who don't, well, correct. Emma used to be a pain with bath and hair washing. Ugh. We got like a massive bucket to do 1 dump instead of like 10. What are we talking about there? My ideal frozen pizza would be sauce of Tombstone, crust of Red Baron, and cheese from Draft House. Man, Ian's out here making Frankenstein stuff. He's out here Frankensteining up frozen pizzas. Ian's got to buy 3 frozen pizzas to come up with a favorite. You son of a gun. I don't know the Draft House one, bro. I don't know the cheese from Draft House. I've never heard of that frozen pizza. Interesting. He goes on to say the sportscasters are beyond terrible, especially with the math. The math says go for 2 points, then a field goal. And that's better than 2 field goals. Odds of that are under 50%, whereas odds of making both field goals are almost 70%. Doesn't matter. Tom Brady signed a 10-year deal with Fox to be an analyst. I will take the Dodgers announcer who died, the one whose voice drives me bonkers. Is that Vin Scully? You don't like Vin Scully? Wow. And those female announcers for college who wouldn't know their... What are you talking about? Okay, wait a second. If you want to come in here and take a shot at Doris Burke, you better step off. Because I think Doris Burke might be, with basketball, top 3 right now. She's so good, dude. She's so good. Let's see. And he said, sorry, I found a subject that riles me up. Much love. Have a great weekend. Man, I'm going to disagree with you on that one, Ian. Doris Burke, man, holding the candle. And then All-Star game tonight, I had my girl, Candace Parker. So I don't know. I don't know which female analyst for college got to you, but Candace Parker adores Burger. Legit. I'm also in love with Candace Parker. Scotty says this: I don't believe in technology for children. They should be outside playing. So parents shouldn't be using technology around their children. Okay. Can't agree. Technology has saved everyone. Saved everyone. I mean, it got the two things will keep my kids quiet: Danny Go and fruit snacks. And that's it. Otherwise, they're hellions. Otherwise, they're running around. They're jumping. My son, and I love it. I love this part. My son wants to kill himself. He wants to jump from the tallest thing he can find in our house as far down as he can onto the smallest pillow. And that's his deal. That's his idea of a good time. And honestly, for me, it sounds like a great time as well. I'm with him. It's just weird as a dad to be like, yeah, I support you trying to kill yourself. But also when he lands and I like fist bump, I'm immediately fist bumping him. And we're like celebrating and crushing beer cans against our foreheads. But he loves being insane. The only thing that will shut him up is Danny Go and fruit snacks. That's it. Thank you for listening to the podcast today. I really appreciate it. And if you would be so kind as to tell a friend about it, again, growth. That's the 2024 motto, unless you hate the podcast. At that point, you know what? Maybe it riles you up. Like Ian, it riled him up. And so maybe you know somebody who's got no pulse and they need to be riled up a little bit. Tell them about the podcast. But if you like it, I would love it if you shared it with a friend. That would mean the world to me. I appreciate it very, very much. If you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, the normal things that everyone says, but it's real. So thank you for listening. And I love almost all of you.